This daf yomi Yerushalmi Orlah in the article also edition one Mamash Shatapel on Mehem Ralph Masitim Side Day. In the Vilna, it's harder to find. It's 22 lines down on Yud Zayin over Alf, which is a long Amud. Masitim Side Day. The best way to find is if you look in the Ner and the Mesorah Shas on the right hand margin. You will see a place where it says Mechilta Parshas Boy. It's the fourth reference. It's one line above that. Masisim Sayadain. So it's actually one brisa, two opinions. One is raya for Rabbi Avo named Rabbi Lazar that lo sochlu, anytime it says lo sochlu, lo yochlu, etc., even with the cholam, it is it includes the sanoya. And Masim Saidain, which is Rabban in the Kesar, in the name of Rabbi Vo, named Rabbi Yochanan, that it is only when it says it with a tzere, lo seachel, lo yeachel, etc. So Masim Saidain, here it says Rabbi Yochanan, but most of the Farshim change it to Rabbi Elazar, which is the first opinion that any lashon is achila asur zana, whether it has a tzere or a cholam, makes no difference. It says so. Masisim said Rabbi Elazar lo yochal chometz. That one is actually I don't remember if it's actually the same or not. I don't know the kudos here. Hold on a second. No, this one's lo yochal chometz. Lo yochal chometz lasos is a machil koichel. It teaches us that it's also to feed chametz to other people because it says lo ye'ochel chametz, right? So at omer lekach, so you say it's for that purpose, or maybe it's in order to asa banoya. After all, it's with a tzere, right? So the brayso goes on. Kshu omer lo sochal olav chametz, even though it's a cholam. So Lamanu Shu Asa Banoya. I already know it's Asa Banoya from Lo Sochal Chametz, which is a pasuk in Dvarim Tez Zayin. So that's the case. Matam Lo Yachel Chametz, which is obviously it's a passive as opposed to active verb. La Sosa Ma'achil Kochel, even though it's a person is the person causes another person to eat, right? So there he's still chayav. Rabbi Yosha. And so that means that the idea is that we can learn this sana from lo sachal, even though it's only with the cholam. And therefore lo yachel means that it should not be eaten. In other words, you should not cause it to be eaten. And the ma'achil is chayav for being ma'achil acherim chametz. No matter which way it's eaten, whether you eat it or somebody else causes you to eat it, whoever's involved in this activity is chayev. Rabbi Yitzchak Me'ein Tzarech. The Yitzchak says you don't need a derivation for this. Ma'im shrotzim kalim, shrotzim, which is a lighter aser. It's obviously not aser koretz. Also, as ma'achil kochel, the person who feeds shrotzim is like the person who eats shrotzim. Chametz kamor, the chametz is more severe. Ein odin shena sebos ma'achil kochel. So that's is not a kavachomer that we make the ma'achil kochel, and that's learned out from Yavama Staff Kufi Dal. By Shwatzim it says from the pasuk of lo sochlum kishachetzheim, it's read also lo sachilum. It's also an issur to feed it to others. So therefore lo yachel is not necessary for that case, for that purpose. Hamatam lo yachel chametz. Why is it lo yachel chametz? Lo ba'kasab elo lo sro b'hano. Oh, begin to receive lo yachel. So according to this second time, Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yosha obviously learns lo sochal is enough to teach us Yitzhak. Yitzchak says no. Lo yachel is necessary to teach us Yitzhak. See lo yachel, hami lo chel sochal lo so leis shma mi no klum. So from this, we derive that from those chal, we're not to have Isra of the Messiah le Rabbi Yochanan. So this second time, Rabbi Yitzchak is the evidence of Melech Yisrael. Rabbi Yochanan that only lo yachel is mashi, so not lo slochal. The Gemara says Pshita, a new issue. Pshita she'ena karka nesar. Somebody bows down to the ground for the Brazil Azar. Karka does not become asur b'no because it doesn't have, there's no tfisas yad onam. And the Bavli says in Avodah Zarah Daf Mem Hey, Elohem Eloharim V'lo Harim Elohem. The Avodah Zarah on the mountains is also, you can't make the mountains into Avodah Zarah. Tzar tzura b'karka, but if you make a furrow in the ground, which makes an image in the ground, then it's considered to be tfisas yad onam. And at that point, it becomes asur b'no. Like it said, and then it said in the assemblies in the Bavli of Avodah Zarah, Daf and Dad as well. Tzavar davar sheish bo ruach chaim. What if you color something which is alive? You dye something alive. Does that make it asur b'no? Ilu shtachave lo asur. If you bow down to it, if the animal of Avodah Zarah, the live animal, you don't ask it because be'al chaim can become asur b'no. The Bavli in Tmur Daf Chavtes says, since in here pasuk to aser never l'gavoa, the animal which is worshipped is also to be a carbon. So lehedyot, it's mutter. This is why that it's not asur b'no for any regular purpose other than for gavoa. They should tzavo asur. So what happens when you dye it? Is that considered ma'isa begufo, which is worse than bowing down to it, and it becomes asur b'no? Or they say that it's the dyeing it is not considered ma'isa begufa behema, at least not sufficiently in the gufa behema, asur b'no, and it's not resolved. Premise that should come asur is a premise from Orlah, because where you dye something with Orlah, it's in a ma'isa begufa and becomes asur b'no. That's a Bavli and Avodah Zarah Daf Dan Chulin Daf Mem. The question is, what about the question? Obviously, what about dying for the purpose of Avodah Zarah? That's a pshat of Yerushalmi, but the way the art school learns it seems to be most, unfortunately, it's not a loiv should speak to me. It's ishtachad lo asur mimnei tzava asur. If you if bowing down does not asur, does dying an asur? Although it doesn't necessarily follow, because bowing down is extrinsic. Dying perhaps could be an intrinsic, so that's why obviously there are two possible pshatim in the Gemara. Okay, the Gemara says here, mikan, but most of the Mepharshim overwhelming, number of Mepharshim changed to mukin. Mukin are like lint. Pieces of material, and a mukin which you're going to put into a pillow, and therefore you dye them. You dye them with orla dye, but you have no enough from that orla dye because you're putting them into a pillow anyway, and in the pillow the color doesn't matter. So tzricha, we don't know, is that considered to be a ma'isa to asur it, or is not considered a ma'isa to asur it? So it's obviously do I say the chazusa milsa no matter what? It's or because it doesn't make a difference to this purpose if it's not nothing, and also this is not resolved. Okay, bega gadol shetzova amenas l'chotcho, and similarly, if you have a large garment which you dyed and you have a mind to cut it up into this fluff for whatever purpose. Do I say that when, as a large garment, obviously this is significant in the dye. You're dyeing it into its dye infected, and it can be used for the purpose of whatever different color you want it to be. But now you did it with the assumption you're going to cut it up, and when it's fluff, the color is not going to matter anymore. So they say that when you cut the fluff, the hana of the tzebel goes away, or the way say no, once the beged is also remains also even though I've cut it up. So Gemara says ma avilei. What is its status? Kamuzgor kamuchlot. Is it like a garment which has taras, which is muzgor? In other words, it's in quarantine, but not yet also. Or kamuchlot, a garment which is definitely has taras, and therefore is also. In other words, it's completely tummy. That's what also mutter doesn't really. By muzgar muchlat, it's tummy versus tohar, but here it's going to be also mutter by Orlah, obviously. So it's parallel between mutter and tahar and aser and tummy. If you're going to make it like like a beged musgar of a Torah, so then it's mutter. And this is evidently a Mishnah in the going. Berkah Mishnah base. Beged musgar, that you cut it up and made temukin, so it obviously doesn't have the shear anymore of a grease, which makes it tohar, tameh. So then it's mutter bano, because you cut it up when it's tohar, and therefore it remains tohar. But if you're going to make it like a beged muchlat, so then it's aser, because once it's aser, cutting up and making it the small pieces doesn't lose its tummy status, and here too it would be aser bahana. Tzavo v'chazav tzavo. So now another case which we're going to ask is if you colored a garment with orla, and then you color with orla again, and again went bad because it's too much color. So tzavo v'chazav tzavo v'gdiach, when bad as a result of the second coloring. Nomar, we'll say imaya tzricha. If it was necessary, l'tzviri shayna, if it needed the first dyeing, and you add it on, it's also because it's already was also. In fact, now you can't make mutter again, right? In other words, tzricha here is a difficult word to translate. It doesn't mean it needed. In other words, it was good for it. The tzricha shoyna, and that was sufficed. At that point, it was a beautiful orla beged. It remains aser, and you can't take off its iser. It's as well. But if the first line was not yet good enough, it was needed some more. And you added more, and then you messed it up. So then it remains mutter, because there's no point was it a positively dyed garment. Okay? Next, another question. Tzvo b'klipi egos. Here the Rafulda, Pnei Moshe, and Levi Yerushalmi switch the gears up. Tzvo b'klipi egos shel chulin. By the way, the Travis thing, I don't know, he attributes to the Chaznish, but I think it's a Pashup Shining Bar. Anyway, so B'klipi egos shel chulin. You colored it with klipi egos shel chulin, which is mutter, of course. The chazar, and then you went back with klipi egos shel orla, and you ruined it, right? So fascinating connection here. Madamar noisim tam livgam mutter. The opinion which holds that noisim tam livgam mutter is holds also here. It's mutter because it's seba orla, ruin the garment. Manda mar nosar. It says nosar, but it's a typo. Manda nosar tam v'gam osar avhacha osar. So the nosar tam v'gam osar holds its osar here as well. So this begs the question. So what about the previous case? To have to say previous case is going according to Pina, the Nosar tam v'gam is mutter, because otherwise previous case also we should say similar idea. So this case introduces the idea of Nosar tam v'gam, the machlekes of Nosar tam v'gam, In these cases, obviously, go with the assumption this time Gam is mutter. So notice in the back of the Yerushalmi, he brings down the Chaziyash's difficulty with the sugya, how Nositam Gam is correlates to the issue of Anos Seva, but okay, I know the Yerushalmi was saying it's mamish exactly similar, but the Yerushalmi say there is room to compare the two cases. And the Gemara, interestingly enough, goes on now and also brings out another case in which we're making a connection between the regular halachas of bittul by Eichlin and the halachas of Orlah. So the Yerushalmi is exploring that perhaps there is this correlation that Orlah has with dying with Orlah has to min b'mino, min b'sheino mino, the parameters of bittul by taste of food. Perhaps Chazusa and Taima have similar parameters, perhaps not. And so it was a similar case like this. Another similar case, a complicated case. Not so bad. Okay, so now you have a garment which you have 3 dyes. Klipe egos orla, and although not mentioned here, klipe egos of chulin, and klipe rimon. So they have 3 colors. 2 are indistinguishable from each other. The egos and egos. And then there's rimon, which is slightly distinct. So in the klipe egos shel heter, there isn't enough 200 to 1 to cancel the klipe egos shel iser. But if you're mitzaref, the klipe rimon part, so then you have 200. So the egos is not enough to make 200, but in the Rimon part you'll have 200. So what's the status here? So you have egos orla with egos of chulin, what I mentioned here, and klipe rimon of chulin. Let's say it's like the following case. Igule dveila hagdolim. It's a case in Chuma's Parak Dal Mishnah Ches. If you have a dveila of Chuma, which fell into Gule dveila, small and large of Chulin, whether the Igul dveila of Chuma is small or large, doesn't matter when Mitzarif, both the large and small Igule dveila of Chulin, the Yibatu the Chuma in 100. Even though the second min is not part of the suffix. So here too, even the chelik of the garment, which is that's obviously part of the Kodesh Chazal. Chazal said really min b'mino is batal b'ro midoraisa. They said well you require 100, but Igul Dveila could go Mektarim or Mitzarif. Even though I know that the truma that fell in is gadol or katan, I can be Mitzarif the other type as well and making up the 100. So here too, the question is, what about the say klipe rimon? Yes, it's true. It's a different type of red than the one changed by the nuts. But I say it's sufficiently similar that it's going to be like igule dveila katayim gdolim and then mala the isser together. That's what it says. Igule dveila gdolim mala skanim katayim ma'as gdolim. Let's say it's the same thing. So the Gemara goes off on a bit of a tangent here. So once you talk about the dveila, so Ravuna says, "Oh, Ravuna Mar Kini Masnisa." You should know that this is the way to explain the Mishnah in Chumos. Hagdolim Ma'asaktani b'Mishko. That if there are 50 gulim, small gulim, and 25 large igulim, and one of the gdolim weighs twice as much as an igul katan. So since they're 100 weight corresponding to igul katan, it's as if they're 100 igulim and it's mebatalit. So that goes by weight. Haktani malim asugdolim ben minyan. And if you have an igul gadol of truma, which fell to 50 igulim ktanim and 50 igulim ktanim, even though there isn't 100 weight corresponding to the igul gadol of truma, but nevertheless we can follow the minyan. and the mini nav 100 to 1. So so he says you should know that we go to Kula both ways. If it's the weight, it's going to give us 100 to 1, we go after the weight. If the number is going to give us 100 to 1, we go after the number. That's by Igulei Vela. So what about the status over here as well? So Gemara says no. Taman min b'mino. He said there it says Gemara that there it's all min b'mino. It's all one min. Yes, it's true. Different size of Igulim, but it's all Vela. But here it's not min b'mino. It's the Rimon and the dye of the Rimon and the dye of the Egos, even though they're both red, they're not sufficiently similar. They're not mitzaref. At least we have no right from there that they're going to be mitzaref to be mamato. Okay, that brings us mamish to the bottom. I'm gonna have it off. I'm gonna have a base. I'm sorry, but no progress on Flam above. It's a long blot. Well, we'll have to stop here for tonight in any event. Get a blot.